I know for a fact that you have or you are struggling to start with a task or a project and like you're procrastinating. Trust me, girl, you're not alone. We have all been there, and it's like this is a no judgment zone era because as humans that's normal. And the reason why I say it's normal is because our brain is so addicted to comfort. Our brain is so accustomed to comfort that as soon as there's some sort of like new thing and it comes with discomfort and pain, the brain is like, I don't want to do this, I'm going to switch off, I don't want to engage in this. And you automatically are also not going to engage into something that your brain is not used to because it scares you and it makes you anxious. And it's like the fact that you're so reluctant means that you're not going to begin this task because you're going to overthink it because of the fact that it's outside of your comfort zone. And the fact that our brains are wired to avoid pain and seek comfort and just pleasure, it can be very hard to start a task or project that is outside of your comfort zone. But what if I told you that there is a way that you can trick your brain into doing hard things? In this video, we're gonna explore about like a little bit of like the science behind motivation and just me sharing tips on how to actually rewire your brain and trick your brain into doing things that it doesn't want to do so that you can overcome procrastination and get everything that you've been wanting. Want to find out all of the secrets? Then keep watching. Before we go into this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also follow all of my socials. And without further ado, let's go. The number one thing is you want to break your tasks into smaller pieces. I know. You've probably heard it before, but guys, it is so key. It is so essential. And the reason why it is because no one wants to randomly, okay, get the random urge, okay, I'm gonna be productive, I'm actually gonna work on my thing, and they have to stare at a big pile of work and they look at everything that they need to do, because then you're not going to end up doing it because you're overwhelmed and you're taking a further step back because you just realize the amount of work that you need to do and you just don't want to do it. The thing is, the hardest part is literally starting. So if you're able to break down your tasks into smaller pieces, you will actually be able to achieve or to complete that task quicker in comparison to just doing it all at once. Because count the amount of days that you're going to procrastinate before finally working under pressure, and you're going to be staying up all night and you're going to be looking like a zombie the next morning because you waited up until the last minute. It's very like inconvenient and it's just not cute. You won't be doing a big chunk of work, or you won't want to do a big chunk of work in one go. And it's the same with your goals. If you want to accomplish your goals, you can't just say, oh, I want to make a business. How are you going to make the business? Then you have to focus on specific things that you need to do in order to create that business for yourself. You're not just going to randomly create a business because that's a lot of work. And you're not going to do that all in one day. You have to make sure that you have a plan, and you actually have to make sure that you have tasks that you're going to assign to yourself that you need to do in order to form this business that you want to form. Everything takes time, and the more you work with it like that, the more that you are able to immerse yourself in the situation and learn more things. Whereas if you're just working under pressure, you're not really learning, you're just trying to cram and just trying to get the thing done. You get me? Now, the other thing is you can use the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is when you start something for 2 minutes, you start something and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do this for 2 minutes. And honestly, after that 2 minutes finishes, you're most likely to end up sat in the same seat for about an hour, because the hardest part was starting, right? The hardest part was getting out of bed and actually having to do the thing. Like, it's the same with like this thing that I heard this other person say. They're like, they actually love going to the gym. It's a part of their life. They can't imagine not even not going to gym and everything. They were saying that the only part that they find hard is actually traveling, like getting up and then having to travel to the gym, because that takes a lot of effort within itself. Whereas when you're in there ready, you're already in the zone. You're not even thinking about what you're gonna do, or like you're gonna dread it. You're not gonna dread it because you're in a room full of people who are doing the same thing, so you might as well just do it, whereas you will just be dreading it when you're on your way to be doing something, when you're on your way to that meeting that you don't want to be in. I wanted to say, similarly, you could use the Pomodoro technique, but it's not really similar. But I feel like because it both works on timers, then you could just link it with this one. But for me personally, the Pomodoro technique doesn't really work. And honestly, what works for me may not work for you. That's why there's seven different ways in order to trick your brain into doing hard things, because not everything is going to be for everyone, right? But you could use the Pomodoro method where you are doing something for 25 minutes and you'll take a 5-minute break, do something for 25 minutes, take a break, 25 minutes, take a break. It doesn't really work for me, because for me, I just feel like once I start something, once I start on a work task, and I'm timing myself based on how many hours I'm spending on the particular task or whatever, I'm sat. The only breaks I'm going to take is like 30 minutes, 45-minute breaks, because I know that the amount of time that I put into that particular task or whatever was worth a 30-minute break. I can't do all of that, and the thing is, I can't be going back and forth. Hence why you get people that can't really sit in the same place and just study for like the longest time. They need to actually get up and study and like do active recalling, maybe like acting like they're teaching in a classroom, like me for example. I feel like for me that's the best technique, which is why I don't feel like that Pomodoro time technique thingy for me could ever work. But it's a literal blessing to tell people, so you can try it out, and if it's not for you, then you're in my boat. But either way, there's so many other things that you could do. So number 3, this is honestly like one of the best ones, like genuinely one of the best ones, and that is creating a startup ritual of some sort, right? This is not some witchcraft. No, blood of Jesus. This is so helpful, guys, because for instance, for me, right, like one thing, I don't know why, but I'm just never in the zone to do my night routine. Like actually like wash my face, brush my teeth, I have to get myself in the zone before I get there. I can't just randomly be like, oh okay, let's do it, right? Because sometimes I lose track of time, especially like in the nighttime. I lose track of time for whatever reason, and then I forget that there was a time that I was supposed to do this, and then I don't do it, and then it ends up being like 10 p.m. or whatever, and my eyes just cannot open anymore, and then I fall asleep, and then I'm like, the next morning I'm like, I didn't do my night routine, you know? And it's just, there's two things, right? So obviously before you start, let's say for me, for example, for my night routine, I would like to like get myself in a zone by listening to music, or just reading a physical book in a sense, because I don't know, it doesn't make me sleepy necessarily, but it makes me feel more relaxed depending on what I'm reading. Because some books, honey, you're not relaxed, you actually have high blood pressure. But anyways, that's not the topic. If you know that if you're gonna need a hot shower, bubble bath, in order to get you into that zone, if you know that you need a slow start to your night in order to get into the zone of your morning routine, then that's what you do. If you know that you want to put like classical music, you want to dim the lights and everything, then that's what you gotta do. You gotta do things that basically work for you and suit you, because you're going to look forward to that. And you know what, you have to switch it up, because you can't constantly do the same thing all the time, because you're gonna get bored and you're gonna get used to it. So you need to switch it up here and there, but make sure that, for example, the night routine thing, it's all done, right? And then the other thing about this is that it just helps you look forward to your night, which just pushes you to actually do the necessary thing, all right? So it's similarly close to, I think, number 5. It's similar to point number 5, which is just romanticizing the whole process. If you are able to romanticize studying and make it fun for you, just making it fun, because now you're gonna look forward to it, and you know that you're gonna be able to find joy out of the situation and everything, and it doesn't all have to be like strict and like serious and everything, and you can actually like have breaks in between, that you know that you get to do whatever you want to do, as long as you know that you're like completing your tasks and you're staying on top of everything and you're just being productive in that sense. And just make it fun for you. Romanticize it, play some music, I don't know, act like you're the main character, act like you're in a movie, act like you're vlogging. Another thing that literally pressures me to do certain things is sometimes I'll pretend like I'm vlogging and that like there are people watching me. And the thing is, if you're vlogging something and if like people are watching it and everything, you're going to be forced to be doing things because you can't just do nothing in your vlog. It's the same as like if someone was watching, like you had your own show, you had your own reality TV show, you wouldn't be not doing anything. You'd want to be showing people how you show up at work. You'd be wanting to show people how you're able to have a fun time, how you're able to romanticize your life, how you're able to find fun in the mundane days that literally are like 99% of like your life and everything. You would be wanting to give them something to work with, something of value, not just not doing anything. So that kind of like pushes you and pressures you to like do more. Number 5, I think this is also like very essential, and that is getting an accountability partner. If you are able to find an accountability partner, hats down to you, honey. That deserves a pat on the back, that you have seen like, okay, in order to get my shit together, I need to have an accountability partner. That self-awareness and that action combination, because the worst part is having self-awareness and then coming up with a plan, coming up with solutions, but then there's no action. In a way, in a sense, inaction can just cause a lot of regret, because like, because you didn't do it, you're gonna be filled with regret, because you're gonna wish that you've done it sooner, you're gonna wish that you did it yesterday, and you don't want to be left with those thoughts. So get an accountability partner. I'm gonna put down my productivity apps that I have on my phone, and there's one in particular. It's Habit. It's called the Habit app. There's a part where you're able to invite your friends in, and like I don't know if your friends can actually see what you're doing and if you can see what they're doing, but they have a whole accountability section to make sure that you're actually completing your tasks, because both you and your friend are holding yourself accountable. You know, you don't, yeah. So that's very helpful, because it's gonna motivate you. Like if you're gonna see your friend doing something, you're like, hey, if they can do it, I can too. So there's no excuse as to why, you know, you shouldn't be doing it and everything. And it's just gonna hold you accountable, and you're going to be able to achieve your goals faster, because you have somebody else who has a similar goal, similar mindset to you, and just can motivate you. You know, even if you need that tough motivation, because some of us need that tough motivation, and not just like the mellow one that's literally not going to get you out of bed. It's like a reality check. So that's also very helpful. Number 6, this is very essential, and I think a lot of people look down in it. Not only should you create a routine for yourself, a structured routine, but it should be personalized. So it's obviously very important to create a routine, because I heard this from Tamko. Guys, I know I've been saying Tamko in my videos like so much, but I watch her religiously, okay? That is she and the Wizard Liz and Simone Simo, Lena Lips. I can go on and on and on. Anywho, she has this thing of like, she uses like one part of her brain where she, on the Tuesday, it's filming day. That's when she films her long form content for her main channel video. And like, I think for Thursday and Friday, she'll probably be working something for her business and everything, and maybe like on the Monday she'll work on a newsletter and everything. It's just basically everything that she was saying in that video, and I was just like, that's literally perfect, because when you wake up on that Monday, you don't even need to think about what you have to do. She's just going to have to do that newsletter, because she knows that she does that every single Monday. Your brain doesn't have to like process it. Your brain is already like accustomed to that. That's like the default. It's on default mode, and it understands that this needs to be done, and that makes it easier for you to kind of like do your tasks. And like that, just having that routine that you're able to alternate, but your brain knows what to do on specific days, so you don't even have to think about it. I think people sometimes do underestimate having a routine, because like, oh, but I don't want my days to be structured and boring and everything. It's helpful. It's helpful, because once you see that 11 a.m. I don't have much time, 11 a.m. I have to be doing this and this and this and this. And once your brain becomes accustomed to that routine, it's going to just fall into place, and it's just going to be like, you don't even have to think about it, right? Just don't underestimate the power of having a routine, because the way you will be able to achieve so many things that you wouldn't have been able to achieve if you didn't have a routine, girl, I'm putting you on. So create a personalized routine. So I know a lot of people watch a lot of other creators. I know that they go on Pinterest and everything, and they find inspo of like, okay, this is their Sunday reset routine, this is their self-care reset routine, this is their daily routine, this is their nightly routine. Create your own. Create your own, let it be personalized, because when it's true to you, it works for you, because what works for them might not work for you. You can take inspiration, don't get me wrong, but don't come and think that like you can take the routine and automatically incorporate it into your life. Does it fit in your life even? Does it hold the same values of like what you would want to achieve and whatnot, and like the values that you hold in your life and your goals and everything, your projects and your mindset and everything? You have to really and truly think about all of these things, because what's important for the next person may not be important for you, and the levels are just not leveling. So make one that's personal to you, and also because it's personalized, you're gonna know why you're doing that certain thing. Whereas if you would have just taken out of Pinterest or somebody else's or another creator's routine, and you're just like, oh, so they do that, then I'm gonna do that, they do that also, I'm gonna do that. Nah. Because the thing is, you don't know why they're doing it, and their why is personal to them. Everybody has their own why as to why they're doing a particular task. You also have to have your own personal why, because that's what's going to get you out of bed. That's where the discipline is going to need to be mastered and implemented, and it just needs to be there. And so if you don't have that personalized routine, honey, make it now. And the last one, but certainly not least, it's a very simple one, and pretty sure you've probably heard it dozens of times, but reward yourself. Reward yourself, because trust me, no one else will. So you just gotta have to do that for yourself. Reward yourself, celebrate your wins and everything, because at the end of the day, it's gonna give you something to look forward to. The mere fact that you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna achieve this goal. When I finish this particular task, I can binge watch whatever I want to binge watch. I can scroll on TikTok. I can get myself a sweet treat. I can get a takeout. I can do all of these things. Like whatever reward makes you happy and motivates you to actually do up and get the thing, let that be your reward. And obviously let it vary depending on the particular task or situation or whatever the case is, because that's going to give you the motivation and the drive to do the hard thing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the simple ways in which you trick your brain into doing hard things. If you like this video and you found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the post notification bell to follow me on all socials, and comment down below what do you think is going to work for you or what has worked for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.